In the annals of human history, there exists a name that reverberates with unspeakable terror and unmatched brutality. Genghis Khan, the merciless butcher responsible for unimaginable horror. According to various sources, it is believed that Genghis Khan was responsible for the deaths of an estimated 40 million people. To put this into perspective, that's a staggering 10% of the entire world population at the time, surpassing the combined toll of notorious figures like Mao Zedong and Adolf Hitler. So how did Genghis Khan manage to claim the lives of an astounding 40 million people? Was it simply a sword to the neck? Well, yes and no. While Genghis did wield swords during the battles to expedite matters, his sadistic tendencies truly came to the forefront during sieges and conquest. The methods he employed to eliminate men, women, and children would make even Jeffrey Dahmer squirm in discomfort. However, it wasn't merely about satisfying his sadistic pleasure. The gruesome acts were his mastery of psychological warfare. Genghis recognized the immense power of terror tactics and employed them with devastating efficiency. The mere mention of his name sent shivers down the spines of those who had heard the terrifying tales of his ruthlessness. So without further ado, let's plunge into the darkest depths of history and explore some of the most heinous and horrifying acts Genghis unleashed upon his hapless foes. Let's start with the Tower of Skulls. In April 1221, there was a horrific and savage battle known as the Siege of Nishapur, which is in present-day Iran. A massive Mongol army besieged the city, launching a barrage of fireballs, over 250,000 large stones, and other deadly weapons at its defenses. Eventually, Nishapur succumbed, leading to a ferocious house-to-house combat. Genghis Khan had explicitly ordered his commanders to ensure nothing in Nishapur survived. Consequently, even the city's animals and vermin, including dogs and cats, were mercilessly exterminated. While 400 skilled workers were spared, the rest of Nishapur's population, totaling about 170,000 people, tragically met a gruesome fate. Every survivor, along with the city's inhabitants, was brutally beheaded in front of each other. The Mongols then took some of those severed heads and constructed 3 haunting mountains of skulls, forming separate pyramids for men, women, and children, as a chilling testament to their ruthlessness. Now, having such dirty blood, Genghis' son Ogedei Khan, who ruled as the Khagan emperor of the Mongol Empire from 1229 to 1241, inherited the same thirst for war and expansion. Just like his father, Ogedei delighted in sending out the vast Mongol hordes on relentless campaigns that spanned thousands of miles in every direction. However, Ogedei was also responsible for an act many historians have called one of the worst Mongol atrocities recorded. This was the mass rape of the Oirat girls. In 1237, according to Persian chroniclers, the Oirat people failed to meet Ogedei's expectations by not providing enough young women for his harem. Enraged, Ogedei decided to extract a scary punishment upon the Oirat. He ordered that 4,000 Oirat girls, including those under the age of 10, were to be repeatedly raped by his soldiers, and that the girls' families were forced to watch this abomination. Tragically, tens of girls lost their lives during these brutal assaults, and the remaining victims were distributed as sex slaves among the harems, merchant caravans, and the Mongol army. Moving on to another incident that showcases Genghis Khan's brutality, we find ourselves in the year 1220 when his Mongol forces attacked the ancient city of Termez in present-day Uzbekistan. In this chilling account, a local woman desperately pleaded for her life, claiming that she had swallowed pearls. Shockingly, the Mongol invaders complied with her request by slicing her open and retrieving the precious gemstones. Due to this horrific event, Genghis Khan issued a chilling order to his soldiers. They were commanded to cut open every citizen of Termez. Following the order, they carried out the horrific act, gutting every individual in their misguided belief that it would lead to the discovery of a similar hidden treasure. The people of Termez endured unimaginable suffering at the hands of Genghis Khan's soldiers. As we delve deeper into the accounts of Genghis Khan's brutal conquest, one incident stands out for its sheer cruelty. It takes us back to the year 1219 when Genghis Khan's merciless vengeance was unleashed upon Inalchuq, the governor of Otrar in present-day Kazakhstan, who had deeply provoked the Mongol emperor by looting his caravan. Leading a vast army, Genghis Khan invaded the Khwarezmian Empire and laid siege to Otrar for 5 agonizing months until the oasis town succumbed to his forces. The fate that awaited Inalchuq was a frightening one. The Mongols executed him by pouring molten silver down his neck, while some accounts suggest it was poured into his ears and eyes. The defenders of Otrar met a similar fate as they valiantly fought, with none surviving the onslaught. In a grim display of power, the victorious Mongols herded the entire population of the city, approximately 100,000 people, onto the plain. There, each and every one of them was ruthlessly put to death, many with the same method employed on Inalchuq, having molten metal poured into their mouths, eyes, and ears, an unimaginably cruel end to their lives. Now, here's an intriguing fact for you. The Mongols, even though known for their deadly prowess in battle, they also had their own code of honor. According to their ancient rules, they couldn't spill noble blood. Instead of killing nobles in the usual way, they came up with creative ways to punish them that didn't involve spilling blood. If a noble was lucky, their captors would quickly snap their necks. But things could get much worse. Suffocation was another favored method, causing prolonged pain. However, the most brutal punishment was reserved for a large Russian force of 80,000 men that surrendered. Since they couldn't execute the nobles among them, and there were many in number as well, the Mongols took away their weapons, placed them under a wooden platform, and proceeded to dance and party on top of it. This bizarre and gruesome celebration became their enemy's death sentence. Another case of this was in 1258 when the Mongols captured Baghdad, the cultural center of the Muslim world. They slaughtered its inhabitants and burned down the buildings. The Mongols rolled Baghdad's Caliph al-Mustasim into a rug and rode over him with horses. No blood was spilled, yet the poor Caliph died a horrible death. Speaking of horses, man has never been short of ideas when it comes to killing his fellow man. Many people have been sewn into bags and drowned or buried alive by the fearsome Genghis Khan. However, one of his favorite leisure activities involved burying victims up to their necks and then driving a herd of horses over them, shattering their skulls. Just imagine the horror of such a fate. It's undoubtedly one of the most intense and chilling acts ever witnessed. The Mongols also had a macabre method of counting their European foes on the battlefield. They would cut off the right ear of every enemy corpse, and reportedly, the severed ears filled 9 large sacks. This practice of collecting trophy ears may have also occurred in Bulgaria and Russia, where the number of bloodied ears was said to be in the thousands. Moving on to the sacking of Urgench. Urgench marked the final battleground of the Khwarezmian Empire against the mighty Khan. The city put up a ferocious fight, unlike anything the Khan had experienced before. The battle lasted for a grueling 6 months, with the Mongols unable to loot and plunder as usual, due to the city's fortified defenses and guerrilla warfare tactics employed by the enemy. Growing weary, the Mongols decided on a drastic course of action. They set fire to the entire city when they couldn't locate all the hidden men within. Even after the city lay in ruins, the surviving enemy's soldiers continued to resist against the Khan's forces, knowing capture would mean a dishonorable death. In response, the Khan diverted a dam, unleashing a destructive flood, and ordered the merciless murder of any remaining civilians or soldiers. While the exact number remains uncertain, some sources claim that the final massacre may have claimed over 1 million lives. If true, it stands as one of the most massive genocides in a short period in human history. Now, this man was not only a punishment for his enemies, but also for those who followed him. Take, for example, the chilling funeral procession of Genghis Khan. In August 1227, the mighty warlord met his demise. Genghis Khan had insisted on keeping his burial place a secret after his death. According to Marco Polo, the renowned Venetian explorer, a disturbing account unfolds. As the late emperor was being laid to rest, in hell of course, the guards mercilessly slaughtered the 2,000 slaves involved in the burial. In a brutal turn of events, the guards themselves were then struck down by a second unit of infantry. These soldiers proceeded to eliminate any witnesses to their path, ruthlessly murdering anyone who crossed their path, ensuring no trace of their presence remained. Shockingly, upon their return, this final group of men chose to take their own lives and committed suicide, so that no one can know where he is buried. Modern experts suggest that Genghis Khan's final resting place, apart from hell, is likely in the vicinity of the Burkhan Khaldun, a sacred mountain in the far north of Mongolia.